Good day, folks. Welcome to the last of the three programs that I'm doing about the trail system in Radnor and the future work. Thank you for watching these programs. My guest today is Michelle Adams from Meliora Design. Michelle's firm is responsible for the Darby-Paoli Trail. Welcome to the show, Michelle.
Thank you, John. I'm glad to be here.
Michelle has the unique disadvantage of they didn't start the program. It was originally started by Natural Lands Trust when we did the bond issue a few years ago, and then Meliora was given the contract to finish. We're going to start off with a video we made out on site. This will help contextualize our following discussion. And take a look at this, and then we'll have a discussion with Michelle about the project.
The Darby-Paoli Trail with the multi-use will be ADA, and when it starts here at the Willows parking lot, it will do a couple switchbacks to get up the hill to the top of the hill, where then we'll start to parallel down Darby-Paoli Road and go through what's called the quarry track. It's a paved trail that will be about in between 8 to 10 feet with a porous surface, and it will go all the way to the Skunk Hollow Municipal Parking entrance. From the access, or where the start of the trail comes down Darby-Paoli Road, it comes into this riparian area of the Little Darby Creek and Camps Wood Creek. And here in the Skunk Hollow Municipal, there is an area where the trail will come down into. It will cross over the bridge that is existing there right now, and then come into this parking lot area, and it will then follow over, crossing over a creek. There will be a bridge being constructed, and go into a meadow that is on the other side. And then it will finally end up onto the intersection of Sawmill Road and Darby-Paoli Road. And inside, on the other side of this creek, is the most amazing secluded meadow that once was part of the Ardrossan agricultural kind of property where they had grazing animals. And you can kind of see why it's a meadow, because it was grazed for so long. It's now starting to go into succession of having trees are starting to close in on it, and bushes, but it's really nice. Most people don't get back there. So once you come through the meadow of the Skunk Hollow, you come here to Sawmill. Just to also say, there's going to be some really cool features that are in that meadow. There are some ruins as well from past mills that have come through. But it comes here, and then an intersection will be done for the pedestrians and passive cyclists to be able to cross over Sawmill Road, and then a continuation of the trail will parallel the Darby-Paoli Road. It will be set to the side a bit. It will be also planted with trees and shrubs to hold it in so it's protected, and boulders as it goes through. It crosses over a little creek, and then it actually, when we continue further around the corner here, you will see where it ends up at the top of the Radnor Boy Scouts schoolhouse. So we are on Darby-Paoli Road, and the trail will have come from Sawmill Road, and it will parallel, cross over a creek, come over up to here. There will be a parking lot that will actually hold probably about 10 cars, a very simple parking lot. The shed will be removed, and a new shed, which will be a wooden shed, smaller, will also be part of the structure added to this. And then it will come up to here, and it will continue to go further to the Boy Scouts property. But a mowed trail will actually circle around to the top of the hill, and then come down and parallel the Darby-Paoli Creek, and end up all the way at the very end of where Sawmill is. And there will be a footpath, a pedestrian footpath, that will go over the creek on that side. of the Darby Creek, where there is parking over there. The full length of the trail is about, I believe, 1.4 miles from the Willows all the way to the Boy Scouts schoolhouse building at the top of Darby-Paoli Road. There are so many people who want to get onto a trail here in the Willows where it's a little bit safer in terms of footage. Some of the trails in the Skunk Hollow Willows area are challenging. They're wet, they're muddy. This way you'll be able to have people of all abilities be able to walk this trail and be in this beautiful environment. So people really want it. People don't understand the complexity of it. They don't understand why it hasn't happened already. And more people are going to want it more because people are so stressed out. They need to get out. They do. And it works.
Welcome back, folks. I think that film shows you some of the incredible beauty out there. This trail has been visualized as part of the open space purchase we did a couple years ago. Actually, it goes back much further than that. As you know, that there are bicyclists out there, and that's treacherous area. It's narrow. The roadway itself is narrow, twisty, and a lot of hills. So we'll be able to get those folks off of Darby-Paoli Road for part of it. And then, as you saw, we also have some natural trails that are not paved, probably just mowed, that'll allow further entrance into the property rather than just being along the periphery. So what are the unique problems you found over there, Michelle?
Well, there's a couple problems, but there's also opportunities. Can I talk about the opportunities
Absolutely,
first? Because
absolutely.
as you mentioned, the trail is about a mile of paved trail along Darby-Paoli Road, connecting folks from the Willows through the Skunk Hollow area over to the Sawmill Parks area. And so it'll move from just the view shed you now have along Darby-Paoli Road to really letting people access these areas and these beautiful experiences of being down by the creek, near agricultural areas, through areas of beautiful woods and forests. So it gives people a chance to really get into this beautiful view shed they see. Those also contribute to the challenges because there are significant areas of wetlands. There's a lot of topography. So we were fortunate to pick up where Natural Lands had laid the trails out and done the heavy lifting of where the trails should go to do the engineering. And it's about a mile of paved trail and several miles of looped soft trails that'll just be mowed or wood chips or something. But there's a lot of topography, so making sure that the paved trail is ADA accessible. So from the original plan, there's some winding loops that will allow everyone to have access to all parts of the paved trail, while also allowing others to go off on these side loops or make shortcut connections if they want to take a shorter route. The challenges have been the topography, the wetlands, the crossings. There'll be 2 stream crossings of the Little Darby with bridges. Both a challenge and an opportunity is that there was a sewer issue along the one crossing of the Little Darby with a failure of a sewer that's had to be repaired. So that was also an opportunity because we could combine the work of repairing the sewer, replacing sections of it with the trail work and the engineering, geotechnical investigations and survey that had to be done. Those could be coupled together. So that was an advantage.
Yeah. And that project is yet to be completed. I know we're still using some temporary sections.
It's in for permitting with Pennsylvania DEP.
Right.
So for the sewer repair.
Is Melior doing that project?
We are. We did it. We did the design for the
I lose
sewer
track.
repair. Yeah, it's a lot going on in your township.
There is, and most of it isn't visible to people, which is unfortunate. We've had, as you know, sewers and stormwater are 2 of the really big issues that we have facing us. And you're doing the stormwater also.
We're working on stormwater in different areas of the watersheds of the township.
Right.
And infrastructure is what people notice when it doesn't work.
Right.
So.
Now, as you work on stormwater, I understand there might be some opportunities to do even additional side trail, connector trails here and there.
On the Darby-Paoli Trail,
Yeah.
right, there's about 2.5 miles of loop trails that will be soft trails, but there'll be opportunities along those trails to create little naturalized areas of planting to enhance the landscape and planting, enhance what people experience when they're out on the trail, and ideas of habitat and vegetation that they can bring back to their own yards that help with both the habitat in Radnor Township and the stormwater.
And there's going to be a bridge, a pedestrian bridge next to the sawmill bridge, right?
There's going to be a pedestrian bridge across at the sawmill area, yes,
Yeah.
for that area, and it'll also be accessible by emergency vehicles for the township. And then there'll be a bridge in the Skunk Hollow area where
Right.
the sewer repair is. So 2 bridges.
Well, that sawmill bridge is particularly important because the sawmill bridge itself is incredibly narrow,
Yes.
even difficult for cars sometimes. And then you'd have people, I know I've come over the crest of that bridge and there have been people there.
A lot of traffic and a lot of foot traffic and not a very safe situation.
Right.
So this will allow the pedestrians to access both sides of the creek and the resources without being in that hazardous narrow bridge.
The down by the scout cabin, there's going to be an area there that probably has one of the most spectacular views. It's up on the crest of the hill,
Yes. Up on the crest of
and
the
that's going to
hill.
be that'll be soft trail to that, though, right?
That'll be soft trail up there, and there'll also be a small parking area access up there for people who want to access the trail from that end.
Right.
Spectacular views over the pasture and the forested corridor along the stream. It's really quite
Right.
beautiful up there.
Are we going to be able to do stream protection, additional stream protection?
Well, there'll certainly be riparian buffer restoration around the areas in the Skunk Hollow area where the sewer is
Right.
being repaired and the bridge installed. So there'll be enhanced plantings to stabilize that area.
How about I can't remember the name of the run that cuts right across the field there by Sawmill.
You're gonna catch me. I don't remember.
No, I don't
Okay.
expect you to. PennDOT just notified us they're getting ready to replace those bridges. And they're going to go to a full-width bridge. But I believe we have talked before about some way of keeping the cattle out of the stream to reduce the organic load.
Right.
Is that, you're not really doing that piece of it though, right?
We're not doing that piece of it, but we are coordinating, Radnor is coordinating with PennDOT so that the work with the guide rails and the structural components that PennDOT is doing now are coordinated with the planned work for when the trail goes in,
Right.
so that there's no conflicts when that happens.
That's really good. And then there's additional opportunities with from Sawmill that we, assuming we can get the piece, an easement at least, or permission at the far end where it hits Briarwood,
Right.
because the township owns a piece of land there, to really increase the amount of connections and whatnot through the township.
Continue that connectivity
Right.
from here, yes. But this I feel like is a really special trail, a unique trail in that it goes through such a beautiful natural area with both view sheds and opportunities to be immersed in that landscape. It's very unique.
And there's 2 really critical street crossings, Sawmill and the T intersection,
Across Darby-Paoli.
Darby-Paoli.
That one's very challenging.
Yeah.
And that the engineering plans have been laid out, but we haven't had conversations with PennDOT yet
Right.
because that may require more control for safe access of pedestrians across that location.
Well, thank heavens we finally convinced PennDOT to make those always stop intersections. So we had so many accidents there because people didn't understand a lot of times that the opposing traffic didn't stop.
Right, right.
So that's very positive.
And I think important that the paved trail itself will be designed to meet PennDOT standards because
Right.
it does run parallel to the road, and it's important that it meet those safety requirements.
The Sawmill we're concerned about, and I think the trails are going to be a big benefit. A lot of speed issues there, and almost blind curve. So I'm hoping with the trail we'll be able to address that intersection and slow people down and make it safer for the people on the
Make
trail.
it safer and eliminate some of the parking that's going on illegally on that corner and have a better controlled access at that intersection
Right.
to improve safety.
That, and then from that piece of the trail, you can get into into Skunk Hollow trails,
Yes.
and then over to the Willows.
And over to the Willows.
Right.
And it'll take you right up to the parking lot of the Willows.
Right. Now, where's the terminus of this new trail?
It goes from the parking lot of the Willows all the way through to the Boy Scout camp down at the
Right.
Sawmill area.
And in the Willows proper, or are you on street, or?
It comes into the Willows property proper. It winds a little bit to navigate that topography and provide ADA access.
Mm-hmm.
And then the trail parallels the parking lot and ends at the parking lot, near the parking lot in the wetlands.
Oh, the lower parking
The
lot.
lower parking
Yeah,
lot.
because these Willows trails actually terminate at the upper parking lot.
Right, which you can access through
Oh,
the Willows.
yeah.
So that seemed a logical place to
Yes.
begin this portion.
And that whole area is just spectacular.
Spectacular for both the view sheds and when you're out in the area itself. The level of bird song and bird observation. It's a wonderful
there's
trail for birders.
Incredible plants, too.
Incredible plants.
One of our Parks Board members has documented a lot of unique species because of the isolation.
Right, and the continuity along the stream. And the stream itself is really quite beautiful
Yeah.
for all its challenges. It's beautiful when you're standing next to it, listening to it.
Well,
in
it's
the forest
Yeah, you're virtually at the headwaters.
yes, and when you're in the wooded areas, it's especially beautiful.
Yeah, I like to go in where up from the gardens, and then you go down the hill by the stream. And
Yes.
if someone told you were
You'd
10,
never
12
know.
miles from a major metropolitan center.
And it's so important, I think, to have those places of ecological refuge for both wildlife and humans, especially for humans. We need those places.
Right. Well, the recent open space purchase, when we combine that with Sawmill, Skunk Hollow, and the Willows,
Right.
it's essentially a 200-acre park.
Right.
And the biologists have told us that 200 acres is a special number that more species will move in, especially birds and whatnot.
Not just move in, but we're on important bird migratory pathways in this area, so
Yeah.
we need those places of refuge for our migratory birds.
I can already see the tripod set up on the trail.
I can't wait.
No, it's beautiful. About 20 years ago, myself and a gentleman named Peter Brindle, he used to be the grounds foreman at Chanticleer.
Oh, yeah. I think Peter's still there.
No, he's in Florida now.
Okay.
We laid out the trails through Skunk Hollow and the Willows.
So you preceded Natural Lands.
Oh, well, I went on Parks Board in 1986.
Okay.
Did 13 years there. During that time, I was chaired when we put the Radnor Trail in.
Okay.
So that was some very interesting times.
Oh, I bet that was early when people weren't thinking about the importance of trails.
Not at all.
Yes, and they're critical.
Yep. But thank God it's worked out, and it really has opened the eyes of this community about trails.
And provided a resource that's so important to all the residents.
What was interesting, we just passed the 10th anniversary of that trail.
Wow.
6 months before that trail opened, it was already heavily populated.
Right.
PennDOT used to get very upset about it because we weren't controlling it. And we do not plow it, maintain it in the wintertime. I've seen cross-country skiers out there. It's wonderful.
Beautiful.
And I think that through Skunk Hollow, that would be another wonderful thing.
Skunk Hollow is a magic place with the forested area and the stream, and providing better access through that area is going to give a lot of people that opportunity to experience that place.
Well, the nice thing over there, I mean, we have to be very careful, and we do where the mulching is. Very careful about how they do that so we don't get runoff.
Right.
But there was an article in the Inquirer not too long ago that the salt load in the Darby Creek is sky high from all the road
runoff.
salt.
It's a huge problem across the nation, and it really affects the aquatic life, and it also affects pollutants. They're finding now that the chlorides in the water affect how the metals bind to the soil particles. It has a, like everything else environmentally, it has a cascading
yes.
effect, more than we even realize.
Oh, I think that's absolutely true.
But there are also new methods for managing salt and measuring how you put salt on your roads. There's plenty of opportunity for that to be
Yeah.
improved.
Our Public Works Department made some major changes 10, 15 years ago with metering the salt, not just
Exactly.
dumping it.
Exactly.
Well, I think we're out of time. It flies by, especially when interesting topics like these. And I look forward to when we can get started. When are we permitting?
Well, we haven't taken it forward to permit yet. We've
Yeah.
got engineering drawings, and we're looking at next year, looking at potential funding sources
Right.
and moving it forward. with
Great.
Permitting. That
Well, I won't be on the board then, but I'll still be involved.
I'm sure.
So thank you for coming in today,
Thank you,
Michelle.
John.
Folks, that wraps up our series on the trail projects. Hopefully you've gained some useful knowledge and have something to look forward to. These trails are going to be wonderful for us all. Thanks for watching.